What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today a little bit more Guilty Gear Strive for y'all. So I've gotten to play basically 3 versions of this game already. I played in the closed beta last year, and I also got to play a long time ago, a whole year ago, where we got to play at offline events, the original old Frosty Fausting build that only had Soul and Kai. So I've seen this game go through a lot of changes over the past year. So similar to after the closed beta, despite us still being in the open beta because they are letting us play for a couple extra days because of all the problems they had with servers during the open beta, I wanted to share my thoughts about the game and my review of the game overall as it is right now. This is basically the last time we're going to be able to play until release, so I wanted to make sure I had all my thoughts together. And if you like all the match analysis, character guides, and all the other content I've been putting on this channel, definitely take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you already have not. It does help the channel grow, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So yeah, let's get started. This is basically my review, my thoughts on Guilty Gear Strive right now. So if you really want to know immediately overall, good. Like, I'm very pleased. And I want to talk about a bunch of different things that people tend to mention, and then just additional things that I've been thinking about. So first off would be the Gatlings. If you don't know what Gatlings are, this is what Guilty Gear and BlazBlue tend to call their chain system of buttons of going from light attacks to heavy attacks. So they changed these in a big way in this game, and it's pretty important for how the game works. But the trade-off is Guilty Gear is a really old game. The Guilty Gear series is more than 20 years old, and there's been people who've been playing this whole time, and they really did not like the change. I didn't really like the change as well, but over time, I've thought about why they made this change. I made a video about this, and I'm going to have that in the description below as well. But essentially, they want buttons to do really specific things, and they notice a pattern of people doing like pressure into either dashing again and special moves, no more than a couple of buttons because of how the defensive system works. So they kind of just cut out the extra fat of some of these tools, but in other ways, it does feel kind of restrictive, and probably the main thing for people is the options off lights. It's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. So the good things are you don't get to mash into sweeps into death. You have to like commit to something. So, like for example, Milia has her crouching kick into sweep, but the sweep is punishable, and she doesn't have crouching jab into sweep either. But another thing is that it is not just kind of restrictive, but it's sort of a lot for new players to memorize. Like, they have this whole thing about we want it to be accessible to new players, and I get that, but at a glance it looks really simple, but there's a lot of different combinations you have to learn. So I thought it was kind of weird. I'm kind of in the middle on this, like both liking things about it and disliking things about it. Now, the movement, though, is much improved from the closed beta. It was one of the worst things about the closed beta. Everyone kind of moved the same. The air dash just felt so sluggish. I called it like running through sludge from Mario Sunshine, if you ever played that game. And there was a technique to cancel this movement extremely quickly, so it was really hard to anti-air it. And it just felt really, really bad. Now, in comparison, the movement in this version of the game feels so much better, unquestionably better. Not only are the air dashes faster in general, but they're more unique by character because basically all the characters had the same movement in the closed beta, and the way you altered your momentum was by when you pressed your jump in. Now, it feels like all the characters have different, faster air dashes while still having that little seal thing to show people that you are doing an air dash. Characters like Zato just have a flight straight up, so he still has his air mobility. Milia has a ton of air options, and her air dash is faster than other characters. There's still some weird points, like how some characters will drift after their air dash and others won't. Like Milia falls like a brick, honestly, for example. It feels kind of weird. But besides that, it is definitely much improved. I'm really, really happy with how they did it. It's a nice compromise between like the old way and like what they want to do with the game. Combos were a weird one, and something I was kind of worried about. I uploaded a video the other day about Giovanna's Infinite. There's like 3 characters that have infinites right now. Of course, it's beta, so they're going to find a way to like hotfix or change these things. But there's no air tech. So in another Arxis game, like basically all the other Arxis games, if you hit someone in the air, you have a limited amount of time to continue to hit them. And once you run out of time, or if you mess up, the opponent gets to flip out of the combo. In this game, you always fall or get hit away. So the way they stop you from doing too long combos or infinites is that once you reach your wall, you can break it. But if anyone finds a way to work around that, like the Giovanna infinite and all the other two infinites we found so far, then, I mean, that happens. You basically get an infinite combo. Besides that, the new combo system I think is overall fine. I'm not a fan of how easy it is to hit confirm again. Sometimes I started finding in matches that it can be hard sometimes, but I think once we get to play more, basically like all stray air hits are going to lead into super fat combos, which is tough because the anti-air game is not super great, which is definitely one of my biggest complaints about the game. It can be done. I think we will find more ways of doing stuff, but right now it definitely felt really hard. The damage being high is mostly fine, I think, especially because you don't get big hits that much. Other things is like we gotta learn matchups to put stuff together, so I don't think it's so bad. And speaking of the wall break, it's growing on me, but I still don't really know how to feel about it. There's stuff I like about it, and there's stuff I don't like about it. The things I don't like the most is like there are definitely some character matchup dynamics where the whole point is the character's supposed to get in one time and then they can like win, but then the character that runs away has to like keep them out, and it's really hard for the other character to go in. I was definitely talking about it. Like matches like Axel vs Sato feel that way. It's like you work so hard to get in on Axel, and then you break the wall to go back to neutral. If you break the wall for super, you get a hard knockdown, which is fine, but you're not always going to have that. But when you break the wall, breaking the wall does a ton of damage, and you get passive meter gain, which is super ridiculous for this game. And a lot of the 50 meter options, which I'll go into later, are nonsense. There's no better way of putting it. The devs themselves said they wanted a lot of mischief to be in GG. They thought it was a really important part of the game, and I agree. And they did it in a huge way. So there are cases of characters who don't build a lot of meter, like Milia, like Chip. Like once you break that wall, you're getting meter. Just by playing the game, you're getting way more meter than normal. It's a huge deal. So I'm like kind of still 50-50 on this. Overall, I think it's like okay-ish. There's some times where I just don't like it that much. Especially like if you're not playing a character that can, let's say, just swing like crazy. Like some characters like Nagoriyuki right here. I'm sure he would love to go back into neutral if he's huge normals and he has like a meter buff. But again, there are other characters who they don't really want to do that. So I still have kind of mixed feelings about it. Now here we have the meter system, which I think is pretty dope and shows me this like intersection between like the game's restrictions, because there are a lot of restrictions on what you do, and the game's freedom, because basically you are definitely at your strongest offensively when you're using meter, and there's a ton of nonsense you can hit people with, and of course it's going to lead into damage. So I definitely think it's one of the coolest things. We already saw people doing some crazy stuff, insane left rights, offensive fuzzies, things like that. So the offense, once you have meter, definitely don't worry, you will come up with some nonsense and people are going to get hit. And of course, we gotta talk about the netcode. Netcode crazy good. I mean, I'm gonna keep on playing Dragon Ball, until this game comes out, but like, it's a different world. Like, I played EU a little bit earlier, just quietly, off stream. And yeah, there's delay, but like, it's honestly negligible. Like, I play similar delay in Dragon Ball with people who are states away, not a continent away. It's really nice to see Arxis embracing this rollback netcode, and it feels amazing. Like, there's just no other way to put it. Like, I've always played online, and I do always talk about, like, I understand there are people who can't play offline, or they live in a place where people just don't play fighting games, or the nearest local offline place is just too far. So this being like this is so good for people like that, and just the community in general. I think it's just really amazing. Now, last things I like, the overall direction of the game is good. It does feel a little restricted sometimes, but overall I like the way they're going. There's a change because of the combo system, and you can't like flip out of combos in the air. In Exerd, when you flipped out of a combo in the air, the character has so much invincibility that they could press a button, like a jump-in button, and the button is invincible, and usually, especially with top tiers, it led to a full combo. Because of the new combo system, you can't do that. I like that a lot. Similarly with the Gatlings, they feel restrictive, but there's a little nice things like people can't match crouching jab and then knock you down and kill you. Like, that's nice. I definitely saw people in my comments especially say how like, oh, now this game's about neutral, but like GG was always about neutral, because even if the setups were so crazy, like the main way to get out to like deal with a lot of these nightmarish offense situations is to win neutral. So and similarly already, like as my Milia gets put together, I see sequences like I hit them, I knock them down, I mix them up, I break the wall. Now Milia has 100 meter. If I broke the wall with, let's say, a super, then I get to go over there. I immediately get to do a 50-50 and kill you. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, the offense is pretty degenerate, I think, this time. So overall, despite a couple of complaints about like how the game feels restricted sometimes and weird sometimes, overall I do like it, and it's a huge improvement over the closed beta. Like, it's so hard to put into words how much better this game is than it was last year. It could help a little bit too that my character is in the game now. I was playing May in the closed beta, but like real talk, it's so much better than it was before. And I'm looking forward to playing it on release. I also have the previous review of the previous version that I got to play in the description below as well if you're interested in that, so check that out. As usual, if you guys have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.